Hey everyone, my name is Steve. I'm sorry on the tenant scale team, and I'm currently working on the sales blueprint for infrastructure. And I wanted to record some things that I'm thinking about how to review this blueprint and what are the next steps for this blueprint as well. So if we go into the main index page here, if we open it up. Um, I've tried to split it up into three sections, into multiple sections actually. So first of all, some philosophy and glossary stuff. So we both use the same language. Um, and then we're going through the architecture of what the architecture will look like when we start provisioning and running cells. Um, this is not to reflect the current architecture. We have other documents for that. This is to reflect the new architecture that we're going to use. There are some things omitted for simplicity reason and not to have 100 lines. Like for example, GKE will talk to all these storages rather than just one, and so on and so forth. I think the most important thing is the large domains. That's one of them. So large domains, what I mean by these is one, there are big areas in the infrastructure that we need to think about, design, and discuss. And these areas are a little bit murky in the sense multiple teams depend on it, multiple teams can own it, and uh, we don't even know from where to actually start just because there's a lot of items that we need to cover. So this was my attempt to try and achieve that. So I find that try to identify the large domains we have, like routing, the control plane where the ring deployment is going to live, the ring definition is going to live, and what size of cell, CI runners. The reason CI runners is here is because it has a lot of security constraints since we run untrusted code, and the current infrastructure might not work. And GitLab Dedicated is also working on hosted offering for CI runners, and that might change things a little bit for us. So we need to dive deep into that. Databases, um, we need to decide how we're going to provision our databases, if we're going to go with decomposition databases, like having a database for main CI and registry, or a single database, and so on and so forth. Deployments, we already have a blueprint for this. Observability, how we're going to observe each cell local versus global view, how we're going to provision these cells, and how we're going to do configuration rollout. So for example, here we can see that these are the main domains that we need to figure out first. So for example, routing, we 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 have a high confidence on this one just because we have a blueprint. Same as deployments, high confidence because we have a blueprint. The other ones are still to be done, and they are not to be done in this merge request. I hope that we can merge this merge request and then move on to moving these deployments, moving these blueprints as separate merge requests. Sorry. So here it gives us a good understanding that, for example, for us to do the provisioning blueprint and design how we're going to provision cells, first we have to figure out how the CI runners are going to work, how is the database going to work, what size of cell are we going to use, um, because it will educate how we provision that. And for example, for deployments, the same. We need the control plane because we need to have a single source of truth for the ring definition to do ring deployments. And the goal is to use those ring deployments for configuration management as well. So configuration management depends on the control plane. Uh, and then the next step is about GitLab dedicated diff. That's what I'm calling it. And this is mostly because GitLab Dedicated has some features um, implemented differently than GitLab.com, and GitLab.com has features that GitLab Dedicated does not have at all. And I want us to run through this exercise to see what's the difference and how we're gonna either remove that difference, live with that difference, or um, do a product decision. So for example, advanced search, as far as I know, it's not enabled on GitLab Dedicated because it does not deploy Elasticsearch or does not deploy Zookt. But for GitLab.com, we have both. So we need to document these differences and decide what we're going to do. For example, we can say, and this is not a statement, just an example, we can say, let's just go with Zookt for GitLab Dedicated. So cells will use Zookt out of the box. Same with capacity planning and so on and so forth. This is not an extensive list. Probably we need to add more, but this is a starting point. I added owners just so they can start working through this and get a better understanding of how the dedicated tooling works. And let them explore like this by actually doing something rather than just reading documents. Um, uh, at least I think that's more helpful for the rest of the team. So yeah, let me know what you think. And looking forward for your feedback on this one. Thank you.